Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we got a quick news video to discuss. Looking at a couple of pieces of news I forgot to mention last week involving a few signings, a couple of waiver updates, a small trade I forgot to discuss, plus we got some updates involving Utah's name. We'll get to all that coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the Internet Hockey Channel. Before we begin this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. Thank you all of your support when never to help you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget the subscribe button down below and hopefully leave a comment down in the comment section below so we can all discuss today's video. So in today's video, we got another news video here to discuss. Not a news and rumor video, but we do have a couple pieces of news that I think I forgot to mention over the past couple of days that happened at some point last week. So we'll get to all the pieces of news here. We're going to start off with a quick waiver update from over the weekend. So back over the last video I think I had was on Thursday, talking about the waiver updates. So over on Thursday we saw Brandon Saad be placed on unconditional waivers for the purpose of contract termination, and Boqvist be placed on waivers by Florida for the purpose of being demoted. Well, Brandon Saad, not surprisingly, wound up clearing. He was making over $4.5 million on unconditional waivers. Any team could have had him clear waivers and then sign him, so I was not too surprised when he wound up clearing. I was expecting Saad to probably wind up clearing, so he could have gone to go sign where anyone else. We'll get to that in a minute. So one of the big interesting things that we did see was Boqvist was claimed. I thought there was a chance Boqvist could get claimed. I thought it was more likely that he would wind up clearing and be demoted by Florida, but he did get claimed, and that was by the New York Islanders. We see the Islanders make a couple of defensive moves. We'll get to one of them that we just saw recently. I also mentioned them signing Tony Angelo. Well, now they claimed Boqvist off of waivers. So this could be a really good pickup there for the Islanders. I think Boqvist could be a solid defensive defenseman who could work on like that third or second pair for the Islanders, especially with Noah Dobson currently injured right now. So this is a pretty good pickup there for the Islanders. I think it'll work for them, and I'm not overly surprised that Boqvist was claimed. Maybe a little bit, but not too much. So interesting waiver updates there. But Brandon Saad cleared unconditional waivers over on Friday, and Boqvist was picked up by NYI. Then over on Friday, we saw another player be placed on unconditional waivers for purpose of contract termination, and that was Mammoth and Outlaws in the Washington organization. He had signed a couple of years ago over from Europe. Has basically been an AHLer, so I guess he just doesn't like the amount of opportunities he's getting, so he wanted to go back overseas. Most likely wanted to sign Europe, so him and the Capitals agreed to terminate his contract. And as you usually see with unconditional waivers for purpose of contract termination, not too surprised, he cleared back over on Saturday, so I don't think that's too much of a surprise. Aktell's more of an AHLer at this point in time, so interesting update there. But Aktell cleared waivers, and he's now a UFA. He can sign wherever he wants to. And then over on Saturday, we saw another player be placed on waivers, and that was Giuseppe. Giuseppe is a decent player. He's a solid bottom six forward, can play in the AHL level, can play the NHL level, so I'm not exactly sure what happened. I think he did wind up clearing, but Giuseppe is currently on waivers, and we'll have to wait and see if he winds up clearing or not. But an interesting waiver of this in our past couple of days, as Brandon Saad and Aktell in St. Louis and Washington respectively were both placed on and cleared unconditional waivers and are now both UFAs. Well, Boqvist was claimed off waivers by the Islanders, and Giuseppe is currently on waivers, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. We're going to go over to the signings for our past couple of days. We saw two signings back over on, I think, Friday it was. One an extension and one a signing. So back over on Friday, we saw the St. Louis Blues extend depth defenseman Corey Schueneman to a one-year deal with the AV of $775,000. They'll begin to start next year. Schueneman had been playing over in Montreal for the longest of times. He signed last year in the offseason as a free agent, and is actually doing all right. Has 2 goals and 12 points in 37 AHL games for St. Louis this year. Also has 4 games of NHL action this year, putting up no points. Last year, he played the entire season with the Colorado AHL affiliate, putting up 4 goals and 22 points in 64 games. So he's been mostly an AHLer. He's gotten a couple of opportunities at the NHL level in his career. He does have a couple of goals at the NHL level, but not this year. So the Blues saw fit to sign him as like a depth defenseman, someone who can be called up upon if there are some injuries. So they signed him to a one-year deal. It's not too much of a surprise there. Schueneman's been a decent AHLer, so I'll expect him to stay in the AHL, but if they do run into some injuries, he can be a call-up option, not only for this year now, but for next year too. So an interesting extension there for St. Louis. And the other signing we saw was actually a pretty interesting one, and was with Brandon Saad. Saad, after being waived and clearing waivers, was in a UFA, could have signed wherever he wanted, and he winds up signing with the Vegas Golden Knights. Knights signed to a one-year deal with AV of $1.5 million to help their top 9. So it's a short-term, low-risk deal. It's only $1.5 million. Saad's a decent third liner, so I think on this sort of a deal for the rest of this year, this should be an absolute steal for the Vegas Golden Knights. This year so far, before being waived, Saad had played in 43 games with St. Louis, putting up 7 goals and 16 points. That was after having 26 goals and 42 points last year. He's hit the 30-point mark each of the last 3 seasons. It doesn't look like he's going to hit it this year, but it's still a possibility. So far has gone to 2 games of NHL action with Vegas since signing his contract and just put up a goal. So really good third line forward there at $1.5 million for the rest of this contract season. I don't think it's too bad. If the Knights really see a fit with him long term, they could sign him to a new extension at some point. If it doesn't seem like he's an overly good fit, they can walk away from him in the offseason. So it's an interesting pickup there. I do think it's a really good move there from the Golden Knights to get Saad to help that top 9, which I think definitely needs it. So an interesting signing there from our past couple days. But Schueneman and St. Louis are signing a 1-year extension and will remain in the St. Louis organization not only for this year but for next year too. Well, Brandon Saad, after being waived and becoming a UFA, has picked Vegas and signed a 1-year, $1.5 million deal to be with the Golden Knights this year. So some interesting signings from our past couple of days. We do have one small trade we forgot to mention last week, and it was between these two teams, the Blues and the Islanders, as the St. Louis Blues moved young defender Scott Perunovich to the New York Islanders in exchange for a 2026 5th-round pick. This is reminiscent of a deal that these two teams made in the middle of the season last year when the Islanders acquired Robert Bertuzzo from the Blues in exchange for a 7th-round pick. So back-to-back years now, the Blues have traded a depth defenseman to the Islanders for a depth draft pick. So it's an interesting pickup there. Perunovich wasn't getting the best of opportunities in St. Louis. Doesn't seem like they really valued him that much. He was a good prospect a couple of years ago, but hasn't really worked out to what he was supposed to be. So getting a 5th-round pick for him seems all right for the Blues right now, especially with the fact that they already had an abundance of defensemen. When it comes to the Islanders, like we just talked about, Dobson's injured. They need some defensive help. They acquired D'Angelo and Boqvist, so now they acquire Perunovich too. It's an interesting pickup there. Perunovich so far this year had 2 goals and 6 points in 24 NHL games. That was following last year when he had 17 assists in 54 NHL games. So he's a decent player. He looks like he could eventually be a solid third defenseman. He's on the younger side, I think. He's 26 years old right now. Will be an RFA at the end of the season. If he fits in really well, I could definitely see the Islanders give him a contract. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens here. But I think this could be an interesting pickup there for the Islanders. Perunovich already has 2 assists in 5 games with the Islanders after being acquired by them. So it's an interesting pickup there. The Blues move off a defenseman who wasn't getting much time, get a 5th-round pick, and the Islanders move off a 5th-round pick to get a defenseman who could really help them with a third-pair guy for now, and maybe could eventually sign with them long-term. So we're going to have to wait and see on this, but it's an interesting pickup there as the Islanders and Blues made a trade. And lastly, just going over to a quick piece of news when it comes to the Utah Hockey Club. Back over last week, they mentioned that they had their finalists for their name. The Yeti was not one of them, a little bit surprising, but Yeti, they could not get the trademark for it. I think it was the Yeti Cooler Company or something like that, wouldn't permit them to get that sort of a trademark going with them. So the Cooler Company kept the trademark and Utah was not able to use Yeti as their team name. So they set up a poll first, I think it was back over on Tuesday or Wednesday last week, that the 3 names they were mentioning would be to keep the team name as the Utah Hockey Club, to go with the Utah Mammoth, or to go with the Utah Wasatch, which was basically a mountain range over in Utah, to sort of try and represent that Yeti name. After I think it was a day or 2, not many people liked the Wasatch, so they switched the Wasatch over to the Outlaws, which is a name that a lot of people really did like. So at the current point in time, they said that they would have those 3 names, Outlaws, Hockey Club, and Mammoth, and that people who are going to the game could vote on those team names, and that it would be for the next 4 home games. I think the 4th home game is just a couple of days from now on, like Tuesday or Wednesday. So they should have an announcement at some point. I'm not sure if they'll announce it in season or if they'll wait for after season to announce it, but there's been a lot of traction for Mammoth. I personally do like the Mammoth. I think they should be called the Mammoth. Some people have also liked Outlaws, but that doesn't seem to be taking as much traction as Mammoth is. I don't think many people really want them to remain the hockey club, so we're going to have to wait and see what happens with their team name. Personally, I like the Mammoth. I think that's what they should go for. I know a lot of people have some other opinions on that, but we're going to have to wait and see on that. So some interesting updates when it comes to some news from our past couple weeks, but Utah looks like they're nearing a name for their team. We see Vegas sign Brandon Saad, and we saw St. Louis extend Schueneman to a new deal. We saw St. Louis deal Perunovich to the Islanders for a 5th-round pick, and we saw a couple of interesting waiver updates. Definitely, that's all I'm going to talk about in this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all this down in the comment section below. What is your opinion on all this? What do you think about the waiver updates? Do you like the Brandon Saad signing? Do you like the Scott Perunovich deal? And what do you think the Utah name will be for the new Utah team? Definitely love to hear your thoughts on all of that down in the comment section below. So I'm going to talk for today. Remember to like this video. If you'd like to subscribe below. Thank you all your support. To help you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to comment down in the comment section below. So something else guys in this video. Also a blog to make news, rumors, analysis, stuff like that. So check that out. I'll link that in the description below. And kind of see you guys all for the next video. See you guys soon.